You are Locked On Warriors Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show, or maybe you know me from any of the other postcasts we do. Warriors, Giants, 49ers, we do it all. And tonight, the Golden State Warriors won their season-high sixth consecutive game as they thumped the Sacramento Kings 130-104 tonight at Chase Center. But tonight was all about Steph Curry as he started the game just 2 3-pointers shy of 4,000 makes from beyond the arc in his career, and he set the record early in the second half, and the Golden State Warriors rolled to a comfortable win. And Jonathan Kuminga even made his much-anticipated return to the team. Lots of springiness and bounciness in his step tonight, and Steve Kerr set a huge milestone of his own that you might have missed in all of the Curry commotion. We'll break it all down, but first I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, 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 if you aren't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed, and make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. And just a heads up to everyone, we have a little bit of change to the show. We are now moving to a more condensed format. We're going to be doing 15 to 20-minute shows, so we're going to try and get through all of this a little bit faster. Just wanted to give all of you that heads up. And tonight, as I said, Steph, let's just get right to it. Into the second half, early in the second half, about 4 minutes in, my guy DG, one of our everydayers, already threw it up in the chat, 4,000 splashes in his career. About 4-ish minutes into the second half, as I said, they didn't stop play after he made the shot, which, by the way, came off of a loose ball kind of situation where everyone was scrambling around. Ball gets kicked to Steph. He gets kind of lost in the shuffle somehow, some way. Always manages, even though he's made 4,000 of these in his career, to figure out a way to make the defense lose track of him, which is maybe his most incredible talent. Not just his three-point shooting, but his ability to get open the way that he does is still just so uncanny. Nobody else does it. The cardio is off the charts, never stops running, but he just knows how to find those empty voids on the basketball court, much like a wide receiver in the NFL knows how to find the voids in like a zone coverage, the soft spots in the defense, and Steph just exploits it relentlessly. And that's exactly what he did on that play. They stopped play, or they didn't stop play, but at the next stoppage of play, at the next commercial break, they played the video tribute at Chase Center. And, you know, they let it off with Andres Biedrich, which made my heart happy because I love that dude. And it was fitting because he's the guy who assisted on Steph's first three-pointer way, way, way back on October 30th, 2009 versus the Suns. Just Curry's second career game. He got open because of a Kelena Azubuike pin down screen that freed him up. And really, Steph's been just doing the same thing ever since, just running off of screens and finding the soft spots, making three-pointers. Hit that one from straight away. He did on October 30th, 2009. And, you know, you saw all of his current teammates, his current head coach, Steve Kerr, went up there and called Steph one of the great artists that this world has ever seen. And he's 100% right. Steph has been so phenomenal to watch through his career. Just a blessing for every single Warriors fan. I remember where the franchise was when they drafted him. I mean, we had the We Believe years, and that was fun and all, but the Warriors were never really legit competitors or contenders until they got Steph and Clay, and then obviously turned the corner with the acquisition of Iguodala and so on and so forth. And we have 4 championships now to show for it. And he was asked post-game if he thought about 5,000 yet, and he said he's just staying in the moment, but also to never limit life's opportunities. So we'll see where Steph goes from here. If you want a fun article to read, I was reading through this during the game. Check out the timeline of Curry's threes on ESPN. It's an article by Anthony Garib. I hope I'm saying that right. Anthony Garib, Gharib. But very, very interesting. Gave a lot of like pop culture context as to like what was going on in the world at those times too. And just really walked you through him, you know, the milestones, him getting to 1,000, 2,000, setting the all-time record, passing Reggie Miller and all that. And so it was very, very, very interesting read, I thought. Go ahead and check that article out. But Curry, man, he is in a class all his own. And if he wasn't before, I mean, we already knew this. He was all on his own in this stratosphere by himself prior to this. But this got me kind of thinking, is this an untouchable mark? Like, the next closest guy is James Harden, and he's not going to get there. Straight up, James Harden is not going to get to 4,000 threes in his career. I don't think anybody that's active right now in the NBA really has a shot to pass that mark. And maybe as the game continues to change, we'll see the next version of a Steph Curry to come in and change that record. But man, I'm going to go ahead and declare I think this is an untouchable record. I do not think that anybody's ever going to break this. I mean, Steph is just so special. And I think when you start talking about 4,000 threes, and he's still going, by the way, I don't think anyone's ever going to pass that. Maybe someone else gets into the 4K club, but I don't know if Steph will ever be past an all-time career three-pointers. And by the way, this guy's career was not supposed to be as long as it has been with all those ankle injuries he had at the beginning of his career. We all thought that this guy was never really going to be able to stay healthy his first few years in the league. And look where he is right now at age nearly 37 years old. His birthday just a few days away, but Steph, man, unreal record. I really do think that it ranks pretty far up there. Like when I think of the untouchable records in sports, I think of like the Joe DiMaggio consecutive hits record, not just basketball. I'm talking about all of sports, man. And that's like, in my mind, that's always been the most untouchable record. I don't know if it passes that because that's another one of those where like, I just don't think anybody ever, especially in today's baseball, is going to pass that. The difference is with that record, baseball is moving away from batting average and guys that just like to hit to get on base, and basketball is moving more towards three-pointers. So a little bit difference there. So I still give the edge to the Joe DiMaggio hit record, but I think it's in this conversation, which is crazy to even state out loud. I mean, Steph Curry is just that incredible. And we're all absolutely blessed to be able to watch this guy do what he does. And by the way, let's just go ahead and make him our player of the game tonight.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I know Steph did not lead the team in scoring. That was actually Draymond Green tonight, who had 23 points, 4 of 7 from deep, and 8 of 14 from the field. But I mean, on a night where Steph Curry passes the 4K three-pointer mark, we have to give it to Steph, man. We can't stray away. He only had those 2 threes, so he finishes the game right at 4,000, and he only had 11 points tonight. But the Warriors really didn't need Steph scoring. Again, a game where the bench just goes bananas. Jonathan Kuminga, we got to talk about this guy. And I think that's what, aside from the Steph Curry 3-point, 4K record, that's what everyone's talking about. But the other thing everybody's talking about is Jonathan Kuminga.
This is what you'll be talking about.
And what you'll be talking about is Kuminga's return to the Warriors. Man, this looked seamless. This guy looked bouncy. He looked like I couldn't even tell that this guy was coming off of an injury. He played 20 minutes and had 18 points. And we all had some questions about how he would fold into the mix with this Warriors, new looking lineup with Jimmy Butler in the mix. Now we were kind of wondering what Jonathan Kuminga's role would be, what he would look like if he would continue to come off the bench. And the Warriors did, in fact, bring him off the bench and use him as that strong six-man. And man, oh man, Kuminga looked like he fit into that role like a glove tonight. 18 points, and in that fourth quarter, just dunking on dudes all night long, just dunk after dunk after dunk in that fourth quarter. And I know he only played 20 minutes, but that's a very good sign for a guy coming off of an injury to be that bouncy looking late in the fourth quarter. I like what I see. And I think that Jonathan Kuminga is going to really lift this team to another level now that he's returned. They just need to get Brandon Podziemski back and they will be at full strength. And man, the Warriors look excellent right now. Quentin Post chipping in 10 points of his own. I mean, everybody except for Jimmy Butler, all the starters, all 4 of the 5 starters in double figures. And you also had 4 guys off the bench in double figures. Again, we're getting back to the strength in numbers type vibe. And a lot of that has to do with it gets even bigger with Jonathan Kuminga out there. I mean, Buddy Hield has been playing very well. He had 16 points. Buddy the barometer, when he plays good, the Warriors win games. And that, again, happened tonight. Guy Santos, Pat Spencer also in double figures off the bench. Quentin Post, 10 points. Moses Moody, a solid 17 points. 4 of 7 shooting. This guy, I mean, he's got a little bit of a we've compared him to Andre Iguodala in the past, but he's got a little bit of a Jimmy Butler mindset to him as well. Like ever since Jimmy's come onto this team, I feel like Moses Moody has just taken a page out of his book and has really become just like a mini Jimmy Butler. And we've also compared Jimmy to Andre Iguodala and kind of compared the impacts that those guys have had on this team when they arrived. And I mean, Moses Moody is kind of doing a lot of the same things that those two guys do / have done for the Golden State Warriors. And I'm loving what I'm seeing from virtually everybody on this team. Every single player on the Warriors finished with a positive plus minus tonight. This was such a total domination type win. I mean, I never really felt that the Kings were even, relatively close in this game, even though they did shrink the lead to within 5. I think they shrunk it down to 4 points about, a few minutes into that third quarter. And maybe things started to get a little bit sweaty, but let's be real. It's the Kings and the Warriors. They had a run waiting in them in that second half, and you were just kind of waiting to see that happen. One thing of concern, if you're looking for concerns from tonight, Steph did kind of come down with a little bit of a back injury early in this one. You saw him grabbing at that lower back for the rest of the game, and he just looked a little off tonight physically, just all night long, looked a little bit off. And that's maybe something to watch out for going forward, but I totally expect him to be able to play through something like this if he didn't even really need to come out in tonight's game. Steph, minutes wise tonight, played 30 minutes, and that's about what Kerr wants to limit him to, is like 30 to 34 minutes a night. And I think that Steph absolutely will be able to continue to manage his minutes the way that the Warriors are playing, although they do have a pretty tough schedule coming up. You got the New York Knicks on Saturday, then the Denver Nuggets on Monday, and then the Milwaukee Bucks on Tuesday on the back end of a back-to-back. So these next 3 games, pretty tough, but I still think that with the Warriors getting all these bodies back, and maybe Brandon Podziemski comes back for Saturday's game versus the Knicks as well. I mean, you don't really need to run Steph into the ground right now, but you do need to keep winning games, because if you're keeping an eye on the NBA Western Conference and what's been going on around the rest of the league, all the teams around the Warriors and all the teams that they're chasing, except for the Lakers, keep on winning. The Lakers have lost 3 in a row, but you looking at anybody else, the Rockets, they've won 4 in a row. You look at the Timberwolves, they've won 6 in a row, and they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. The Warriors only a half game up on the Timberwolves for that 6th seed in the West. And you're looking up at the Rockets, they're still 3 games ahead of you now with the win tonight. And you're looking up at the Lakers are also 3 games ahead. The Nuggets are 4 games ahead, and the Grizzlies are 4 games ahead. So the Warriors are within striking distance of these teams. Some of them got to start losing some games, man. The Western Conference is showing its strength right now. All of these teams are super, super, super talented, and it's going to be tough for the Warriors to catch them, but they're going to keep trying, man. And I like the way that this team looks right now. I think everybody likes the way this team looks right now, except for maybe Charles Barkley, who for some reason declared at halftime that the Kings were going to win this game. Chuck just loves to hate the Warriors, man, but that's okay. We still love Chuck. I think he's hilarious. I'm very sad that show is ending at the end of this year. Why can't we have nice things, man? On the other side, we got to talk about Steve Kerr, man. He did something that you might not have noticed given the Curry commotion tonight. He set a record of his own. We'll talk about that next on the Locked On Warriors postcast. Today's show is sponsored by FanDuel. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before, because right now new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. And I mean, I've got my eye on a few underdogs this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them up with spreads, totals, and game props. I mean, I love picking 12 seeds in that first round, man. I really do. There's always a 12 seed who ends up upsetting, in that first round, in the round of 64. So we will see how that goes. Tournament games happening almost every day. There's always something extra and exciting to bet on. The FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly. No waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. And tonight's show is also sponsored by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where the heck did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. And now I budget smarter, save more, cook a little more in the kitchen, drop in a few LBs. It's good for everyone. You know what I mean? And so use Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and tonight the Warriors dominate the Sacramento Kings 130-104. Steph Curry sets the 4K three-pointer mark, and he's still got a lot of runway left to add to that number. But also tonight, man, we got to talk about Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr ties Al Attles for the all-time most wins as a Warriors head coach. And that's a big deal, man. Like, Al Attles is absolute royalty when you talk about the Golden State Warriors. He might be the single most Warrior guy of all time. Played for the team, coached the team, super successful as a coach, the 75 championship, all of those things. And so for Steve Kerr to tie a guy of that caliber, I mean, people love in the modern NBA to just bag on Steve Kerr and say, you know, he's just got Steph and that's all he does. But it's really not, man. Like, Steve has done a miraculous job folding all these different pieces in leading the Warriors as their head coach to four titles, man. I don't know that there's ever been a more underappreciated head coach that's also this dominant in the NBA. I don't think anybody else who wins this many championships gets the same kind of flack that Steve Kerr does. Phil Jackson, we all regard Phil as a very, just a brilliant head coach, very cerebral guy. No one ever sat there and was like, oh, well, if you didn't have Jordan, you don't win all those championships, which is probably true to some extent. Every winning coach has some good players to win games with, but it doesn't take away from the mastery that he has out there on the court with, drawing things up. Of course, he had the triangle offense, and that was his staple. And Steve Kerr's got, just this flow like water type offense with all these screens that the Warriors use and movement and ball movement and all of that kind of stuff. Everyone's got their calling card, and Steve Kerr has still got to make something that fits for what he's got around him. And he's done that better than any other coach in this era. And that's undeniable. How come LeBron James coaches didn't just stick around with him through his whole career? How come he's won championships with all these different coaches instead of just one? I mean, I'm not trying to take anything away from Mike Brown, or I don't think he won with Mike Brown, did he? But with Eric Spoelstra or Ty Lue, I'm not trying to take away with from any of those guys. But there's a reason that LeBron went from coach to coach to coach, and it was because there wasn't just one guy who could utilize him in such a way that was just so superb that he was, he was able to take his talents elsewhere and still find success, which is also a testament to him as well. But I mean, if he had Steve Kerr, does he ever leave? Probably not, man, because Kerr was that good of a coach. So I credit Steve Kerr a lot with being able to manage all these different personalities. Also, he's managing Draymond Green every single day. He's got to get some credit for that, man. We did not talk nearly enough about Draymond Green tonight. I wish we had more time. 23 points, man. He was all over the place. 4 of 7 from three-point range. The Warriors really just knocking all their threes down tonight. 56.4% from the field. They have been shooting much, much, much better from three-point range in these last couple days. Hopefully this is something that sticks around. And I saw my guy DG in the chat also saying Guy Santos looking better and better every single night. He said Guy League Santos. That's a funny joke there, my guy. But yeah, dude, Guy Santos, I love the decision making. He's getting better and better with that decision making, not just running 1,000 miles an hour all the time. And tonight, he actually led the Warriors in plus 21. He had 4 from the field, 18 minutes, 5 rebounds. This guy is all over the place. He even had 3 assists. So shout out Guy Santos in double figures again. I mean, every single player on this team looks like they know their role, and it just looks so good out there watching the Warriors continue to thump everybody that comes into Chase Center. They're now 20-13 at home. This team's rolling, man. This team's rolling. That's all the time that we got for you guys today. Hopefully, we will be able to do a show this weekend. I will let you guys know. Follow me on Twitter at Eric_Engel. I'll let you know if we're able to do one or not, but I'll give you the guys, I will give you guys the update on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to call that website now. I don't even know, man. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.